For decades, the world operated on a shared set of economic rules. Nations largely agreed that lowering trade barriers and fostering interconnected financial systems would lead to greater prosperity for all. This system, built after World War II, encouraged globalization, allowing goods, services and money to flow across borders with relative ease. It wasn't perfect, but it created a predictable environment for businesses and governments. Now, however, we are witnessing a fundamental challenge to this long-standing order. The very idea of a seamlessly connected global economy is being questioned and actively dismantled, a process many are calling a global economic reset. This isn't just a minor adjustment, it's a paradigm shift away from cooperation and towards a new era of national self-interest and economic confrontation. This reset is not a single event but a series of powerful, interconnected actions. It is driven by a potent mix of aggressive trade policies, bold currency speculations, and a growing divergence in how major economies regulate their own systems. The United States, under the second Trump administration, is at the epicenter of this change, championing a move towards protectionism. The core belief driving this shift is that the old system disadvantaged American workers and industries. The response has been to erect economic walls, hoping to protect domestic interests. This marks a dramatic reversal of the policies that have defined international relations for over 70 years, creating immense uncertainty for every nation participating in the global marketplace. Imagine the global economy as a complex network of highways that have allowed traffic to flow smoothly for generations. This reset is like one of the network's most important hubs deciding to suddenly install toll booths, roadblocks, and even change the rules of the road without consulting anyone else. The immediate effect is a massive traffic jam, but the long-term consequences are far more profound. Other countries are forced to react, either by building their own barriers in retaliation, or by scrambling to find new routes. This fragments the entire system, making every journey more expensive, more difficult, and much less predictable than it was before. The implications of this fracturing are vast, and touch every corner of the globe. International institutions that once managed global economic traffic, like the World Trade Organization and the International Monetary Fund, find their authority diminished. The shared assumption that open markets benefit everyone is being replaced by a zero-sum game mentality, where one country's gain is seen as another's loss. As we navigate this new landscape, the stability that underpinned global growth is eroding, forcing us to understand the new, more volatile rules that are being written in real time. This is not just a story for economists, it's a shift that will redefine our world for years to come. The most visible tool of this economic reset is the tariff. In simple terms, a tariff is a tax placed on goods imported from another country. The stated goal is to make foreign products more expensive, thereby encouraging consumers and businesses to buy domestically produced goods instead. The Trump administration has wielded this tool with unprecedented force. Beginning in early 2025, sweeping new tariffs were imposed on major trading partners, including a 25% tariff on all goods from Canada and Mexico, and staggering levies against China that have climbed as high as 145%. This aggressive strategy of building tariff walls represents a direct assault on the principles of free trade that have dominated the global economy for decades. The immediate consequence of these actions is a disruption of global supply chains. For years, companies built intricate production networks that spanned multiple countries to maximize efficiency and lower costs. A product might be designed in the United States, assembled in Mexico with parts from China, and sold in Europe. The new tariffs throw a wrench into this entire process. The cost of importing parts and finished goods skyrockets overnight, forcing businesses to make difficult choices. They can either absorb the new costs and reduce their profits, pass the higher prices on to consumers, or undertake the massive and expensive task of relocating their entire supply chain to avoid the tariffs. This trade war is already having a chilling effect on global economic growth. In its April 2025 report, the IMF issued a stark warning, sharply downgrading its forecasts. Global growth is now projected to be significantly lower, with the US economy itself expected to slow down considerably. The pain is even more acute for countries deeply integrated with the American market. Mexico, for example, is now facing an economic contraction, a dramatic reversal of its previous growth trajectory. Even the powerful euro area is not immune, with its growth prospects slashed and industrial powerhouses like Germany expecting zero growth. These numbers confirm that trade wars create no real winners. They simply slow down the entire global economic engine. Ultimately, these tariffs act like a tax on everyone. While intended to punish foreign competitors, they are often paid by domestic consumers in the form of higher prices. When a 25% tariff is placed on a car part from Mexico, the cost of manufacturing a car in the United States goes up, and that increase is eventually reflected in the vehicle's sticker price at the dealership. This leads to inflation, eroding the purchasing power of ordinary families. The promise of protecting local jobs becomes complicated when the cost of living rises for everyone, creating a difficult economic environment that hurts the very people the policies were meant to help. Beyond the trade wars, a more radical and potentially destabilizing idea is gaining traction: a monetary reset. Whispers from Washington, sometimes dubbed the Mar-a-Lago Accord, suggest a plan to fundamentally re-engineer the value of the US dollar. The core of this speculated plan involves a massive devaluation of the dollar, possibly by revaluing America's official gold reserves at a much higher price. Devaluing the dollar would make American exports significantly cheaper on the world market while making all imported goods much more expensive for Americans. This is a high-stakes gamble designed to eliminate trade deficits and supercharge domestic manufacturing overnight. The potential fallout from such a move would be catastrophic for the global financial system, which is built upon the US dollar's status as the world's primary reserve currency. For decades, countries have held dollars, traded in dollars, and priced essential commodities like oil in dollars because of its perceived stability. A sudden, deliberate devaluation would shatter this trust. Countries holding trillions of dollars in their reserves would see the value of their savings wiped out. This would trigger a frantic scramble to dump dollar assets, leading to financial chaos and severely impacting export-dependent economies like China and Germany, whose entire economic models rely on selling goods to the United States. Sensing this profound instability, central banks around the world have been quietly preparing. For the last several years, they have been buying gold at a historic pace. In 2022, 2023, and 2024, central banks collectively purchased over 1,000 tons of gold each year, a dramatic increase from previous decades. Nations like India are not only buying more gold but are also moving their existing reserves from vaults in London and New York back to their home countries. This is a clear vote of no confidence in the traditional financial system. They are hedging their bets, turning to the one asset that has been considered a reliable store of value for millennia and cannot be devalued by a single government's decree. This flight to safety is not limited to governments. As fears of a monetary reset grow, the price of gold has soared, approaching an unprecedented $3,000 per ounce in early 2025. The demand for physical gold has become so intense that major markets like London are facing shortages and significant delivery delays. This rush to gold is a powerful signal. It tells us that major players, from central bankers to individual investors, are losing faith in paper currencies and the governments that issue them. They are seeking a safe haven from the coming storm, an asset that exists outside the volatile realm of international politics and radical economic experiments. These grand economic maneuvers, trade wars, and monetary resets can feel distant and abstract, like a game played by powerful people in faraway capitals. However, their consequences land directly on the kitchen tables of ordinary families around the world. The most immediate impact is a higher cost of living. When tariffs are placed on everything from electronics to avocados, the prices at your local store inevitably go up. Suddenly, the weekly grocery bill is higher, the new phone or car you were saving for is more expensive, and your salary doesn't stretch as far as it used to. This isn't a theoretical problem, it's a direct hit to your household budget. Furthermore, this instability threatens jobs and economic security. A company that relies on imported components may be forced to scale back production or lay off workers due to rising costs. A farmer who exports their crops may find their biggest markets suddenly closed off by retaliatory tariffs, leading to lost income and potential bankruptcy. The interconnected nature of our economy means that disruptions in one sector can quickly cascade into others. A slowdown in manufacturing can lead to job losses in logistics, retail, and support services. This rising uncertainty makes it harder for businesses to invest and for families to plan for the future. The danger is also psychological. When the value of money itself becomes uncertain, it corrodes trust in the entire economic system. If people fear that their savings could lose a significant portion of their value overnight due to a currency devaluation, it changes their behavior. They may be less willing to save, invest, or make long-term financial commitments. This creates a climate of fear and instability that can be just as damaging as the direct economic impacts. A stable currency is the bedrock of a modern economy. Shaking that foundation puts everyone's financial well-being at risk, not just that of the wealthy. This is why the global economic reset is not just a problem for corporations or governments, it is a profound danger to us all. The shift away from a predictable, rules-based system towards one of economic nationalism and confrontation introduces a level of volatility our world has not seen in generations. It risks undoing decades of progress and pushing the global economy into a prolonged period of stagnation or decline. For the average person, this means a future that is less prosperous, less stable, and far less secure. The stakes could not be higher, and the consequences will be felt by everyone everywhere.